the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Gowdy.
I thank the gentleman from Utah. Mr. Chairman, you have an absolute right to remain silent. No inference or suggestion of guilt may be inferred from your invocation of that right to remain silent. However, if you do testify or take the stand, you will be treated like any other witness and subject to cross-examination. Mr. Chairman, the reason that that phrase is running through my mind is because I heard it for 16 years. It's being repeated in courtrooms all across this country today, but not for powerful people that work for government, just for everyday folks. Just for everyday witnesses or everyday defendants of petty crimes, not charged with violation of constitutional rights, maybe just petty larceny. But they're being told you have a right to remain silent. However, if you testify or take the stand, you will be treated like every other witness. Mr. Chairman, I counted 17 separate factual assertions by Ms. Lerner, not those three little sentences that my colleagues like to cite, 17 separate factual assertions. That is a lot of talking for somebody who wants to remain silent. That's a lot of talking. If you honestly believe that you can make 17 separate factual assertions and still invoke your right to remain silent, then please tell me what waiver is. Please tell me what constitutes waiver if saying 17 separate factual things does not. Mr. Chairman, she testified, I have done nothing wrong, I've broken no laws, I've broken no IRS rules or regulations. That's her testimony. What I'm saying is we should have the right to cross-examine her on that testimony. Because I'd like to ask her, when you said we need a plan, who is we, and what plan are you referring to? When she said we need to be careful that it's not perceived as political, who is we, and what are you concerned about the perception of politics for? What are you fearful of, Ms. Lerner? She said, I think we really need to do a project. Again, Ms. Lerner, who is we, and what project are you referring to? That is a legitimate question. And every brother and sister at the bar on the other side of the aisle would ask that question on cross-examination if given the opportunity. Can you imagine, Mr. Chairman, can you imagine a fact pattern where somebody takes the stand and says, I didn't rob the bank, but I'm not going to answer why my fingerprints are on the demand note, and I'm not going to tell you why I'm on the surveillance footage with the gun in my hand, and I'm not going to tell you why the dye pack blew up in my car. I'm just going to tell you I didn't rob the bank. That's not the way our system works. You have to answer the other side's questions. I think these questions are fair. The Tea Party's very dangerous. Dangerous to whom? Who, Ms. Lerner? Who thinks they're dangerous? You? The IRS? Dangerous in what way? We need a vehicle to get back to court. Who is we? Why do you want to get back to court? Could it, heaven forbid, be because you don't like Citizens United? Is that possibly the explanation? Mr. Chairman, she said Cincinnati should not have these cases, but then she turned around and said Cincinnati was to blame. That's an inconsistent statement. Every lawyer on that side of the aisle would ask her to explain that inconsistency. Everyone. So why can't we? If this isn't waiver, then can someone explain to me on the other side what fact pattern constitutes waiver? If you can make 17 separate factual assertions and authenticate a document, and say, I have done nothing wrong, which is about as broad as any testimony can possibly get. I've done nothing wrong. I've broken no laws. I've broken no rules or regulations. I mean, honestly, what testimony could be broader than that? So necessarily, our cross-examination should be equally broad, and it would be in a courtroom. How often did you use your personal email, Ms. Lerner? That's a fair question. The Committee on Ways and Means just referred that issue to the Department of Justice. How many times did you use your personal email? When you mused about applying for a job with an organization connected with the president, were you kidding, Ms. Lerner? Or were you serious? We know you were contemplating retirement. Were you really seriously going to work? Mr. Chairman, I know my time is up. I'm just going to say this in conclusion. The same Constitution that allows her the right, if she wants to sit there and say nothing, allows these groups the right to petition their government for redress.
I appreciate the gentleman. Gentleman's time has expired. Who seeks recognition?